maintaining his advantage in this second set. And again, the American crowd don't like to sit, do they, Leaf, through an entire match? They like to get up, move around. Very crisp volley from Henman.
Oh, and Henman can play the high volley. That's where this faster surface is a big asset, because the ball will skid. Roddick, with his speed, could not do enough with it.
Finally makes another backhand pass.
15.
Gave that one just a little bit more margin for error, Roddick. Got away with it, Roddick.
And just unable to do enough right there. As Roddick is able to find a winning volley. See, that's up high. Anytime your opponent can volley down into the court, he's got a better chance of winning the point.
Usually mops up those sort of opportunities, Roddick.
Yeah, he hasn't missed many forehand passing shots today. I don't think Henman will complain about the height of the net. It's a little bit higher as you work out towards the alleys. You can see how much that one meant to him. What a chance.
Standing in Lexington Avenue, you returned that one, wasn't he, Andy Roddick? But it worked to good effect. Henman serve didn't have too much on it. He rolled it in at 86 miles an hour. Break point for Roddick. Wonderful athleticism. Look at that. Look at that fire and desire from Roddick. The crowd are going to love that.
Henman could not apply enough pressure, and you can see Roddick has time, and the pass is good enough.
But the New Yorkers feed off that better than anywhere else in the world. Got a touch of the Connors about him in that department, Roddick. He certainly interacts well with the crowd. And the American shows his maturity and gets back on level terms. Henman's got to put that behind him very quickly.
Have to be more decisive off the return. Anything up high in the middle of the court, Roddick will dispatch, and he's done it well on the forehand.
There's no shrinking violet, is Andy Roddick. Very magnetic personality, loves the limelight. Turned this set on its head. Roddick jogging to his chair, full of energy, full of optimism. And the number 4 seed is ahead for the first time in this set, 4-3. Roddick will be buoyed up after those last couple of games. He really found a way through. Henman just got to look at the scoreline and say, I'm still on serve, I got the new balls in my hand. The set's still 50-50.
It's just remarkable how Roddick has turned up the volume on the ground strokes just within this summer. I mean, he's knocking off winners from the backcourt. He wasn't doing that at Wimbledon this year. It's quite remarkable how quickly he has elevated his game.
That's really unforgivable for Henman. One of the best overheads in the game, but again, all credit to Andy Roddick. He hustled the point from Henman.
That's sometimes what it takes, just getting one more ball back into play.
Wouldn't have been going after that smash with too much confidence, Henman, but he slots it away nicely.
But better energy by the Brit here. He really gets in quickly. And see the skip? I mean, he's moving there, and I think the first couple points, he just wasn't doing it right. Perhaps angry at his performance in those opening 2 points. Trying to redouble his focus here and get back into this game.
And again, Roddick with the movement. Henman does everything right. He just can't get the ball away from the American.
Roddick well out of position, and the net cord gave him a little more time. Something of a bad break for Henman, right there. See the ball hit the tape? That hurts.
2 break points to give Roddick a chance to serve with 2 sets to love lead. Pretty courageous by Henman to go to the Roddick forehand. The heart of the match. Second chance for Roddick. Down the angle. And found the first serve.
Now, he has not served well this set. But that time, the first serve gave him the easy forehand. You just get into the point with more confidence and more rhythm when you can find the first serve.
Good depth on that serve from Henman. Massive hold. Stefanki knows it. Henman had dropped that. Roddick surely would have been up 2 sets to love, and it's a long way back from there.
Yeah, and there's no roadmap to get back from 2 sets to love down against Roddick in Arthur Ashe Stadium. The Brit is very much alive. And Roddick will have to forget about the chances lost there.
That's what's so interesting about the tennis league, is the fluctuations in the match psychologically more than the actual tennis. 1 minute it looks like you're out of the set, Henman was up the break, and then all of a sudden in the space of 10 minutes it looked as though Roddick was going to claim it.
Roddick has not been generous with unforced errors, fairly stingy, but that forehand over the baseline, and now it's Henman wrestling away a chance.
Third double fault. I do feel as though Henman's ability just to get the ball back into play unsettles Roddick at times. So used to getting the cheap point. 3 break points for Henman. Can't find a first serve.
One of those instances where you're trying to improve your position by moving in very quickly. But you can see he's almost falling into the play before he hits the shot. Just has to recalculate his feet a bit more precisely.
Thought he'd done it, Henman, thought he'd slid it past him, but suddenly at the last minute, Roddick stretched his arm out. Waited as long as he could to hit the pass. 2 of the break points have gone, 1 remaining. Probably the best in the world currently at the backhand smash. Henman needed the luxury of the 3 break points, but he converts and will come out after the break to serve for the second set. Some game by Henman, put the pressure on and quickly turn things around. Do you think Roddick didn't deal with the disappointment and not breaking?
Yeah, he just started the game slowly, and Henman played a very solid game. And Roddick gives you these moments when you can get to him. Just is not as sharp mentally. In that game, Henman just put it together nicely, and I think he came in at the right moments. Really, again, doing such an effective job when he's able to play the ball on the fly. And Andy Roddick will shake his head at that game. Not a pretty game, and it may have cost him the set.
Everybody, and I'm sure including Andy Roddick, thought this was going to be a tough encounter for him. Came in here as the pre-tournament favourite. It's a lofty place to be. And he has to break the Henman serve to stay in this second set.
Please be seated back off the court. Thank you. Thank you.
Block return, very abbreviated swing on that one from Roddick.
And I'm not accustomed to seeing Andy Roddick play with that kind of grip. It almost was a continental, not a Western, which is his normal forehand grip. It's creative play from the American. Give him that much. Found some space down the line.
An untimely 6th double fault for Henman. Stinging return from Roddick again. Looked as though he'd picked the forehand corner. Bewilderment on Henman's face. And this undulating set could take another turn. And it does. That's one of the best returning games I think Andy Roddick has ever played in his life. And a pretty opportune moment to deliver it.
Geez, that's remarkable, and it says so much about Roddick's confidence. I mean, here he surrenders a fairly poor service game, steadies himself, and delivers one of his best return games. Finishes it with a clean winner. I mean, that is the kind of tennis Jimmy Connors would produce.
Both men generally so tough to break, but with ease it seems at the moment. And again, Henman getting his teeth into a Roddick service game early. On reflection, just quickly, I think Henman should have gone to the backhand a little bit more in that last game.
Geez, I'm sure he was thinking, I'm going to go to the forehand volley into the backhand, but Roddick never gave him a chance. I always like the body. You just feel if you go body, the guy can't hit a winner off you at least.
13.
Not pace particularly on that one that beat Henman, but just the weight of the second serve. Too much of a nudge.
Well, this set has been captivating, hasn't it? Just not sure which man will grab it.
Again, that's a clutch second serve from Roddick. He knew Henman was going to be looking to get in, and he found the back of the line. Roddick achieves his task that he set himself in that game to hold on to his serve. And he'll be feeling a lot better about this match. He's given himself at least the opportunity of taking it on a tiebreaker. Two serves to the backhand and a couple of cheap points for Henman. Tough for Roddick to sneak in unannounced anywhere these days, such as his star quality. And Henman saw him coming. What a difference a couple of games make. Henman broken to love when he serves for the second set and holds to love to take this into a tiebreaker. Roddick with a quite exceptional tiebreaker record for this year. 26 wins, just the 11 losses. Henman dead even at 5-all.
Well, where the set has gotten here with service breaks, I think this tiebreaker is going to be decided by who can hold on to their serve. Roddick off to a good start.
Roddick played that point pretty safely.
He really does. He plays with power, but there's clearance over the net because he plays with so much topspin. Henman will win this tiebreaker at the net. I don't think he can win it from the back.
Oh, magnificent rally. Breathtaking stuff from both men.
Some hand-to-hand combat here. Roddick finds the volley, but it's Henman who's able to finish. That's great stuff.
Difficult from our position up high to know whether the lobs are going to drop in or not. Roddick had a careful eye on it. And that is pretty much where we are. Fastest serve of the night for Roddick. 140 miles an hour. Jointly holds the fastest serve ever recorded. Served it at Queen's this year, 149 miles an hour. Tied it with Greg Rosetsky. Made his move at the right time, Henman. Cut it pretty fine on a previous forehand.
You're never quite sure if Henman has stayed in the rally too long, or whether he's waiting for the right moment, or he can't find the right shot to get in on. Roddick plays with such power and pace. Perhaps Henman senses, I'm not in a position to make the charge. And finally, he found that right time. Beautifully measured approach.
Cut the tension with a knife. Both men know how important this tiebreaker is. Roddick again deep behind the baseline, and it gave him a chance to take a big swing at the ball. And again, that's a part of his game that's improved under the tutelage of Brad Gilbert.
Now, this is a devastating service return. Boy, that is hit hard and it's dipping down. Roddick in the driver's seat. 5-2 up, 2 serves to come.
Amping it up on the forehand. And Roddick with 4 consecutive set points. Gone out. Henman loses the second set, but all credit to Andy Roddick. He dug deep in that one. It looked as though it was going to be Henman's all the way. The British #1 served for it, but ultimately Roddick victorious. The American leads 2 sets to love.
Early moments here in this third set critical for Henman. No doubt he wants to establish himself in this set. He had the lead in the second set. I'm sure he would like to have a lead here in this set. That is a wicked shot, and he did not miss it by much.
Henman has come back from a 2-sets-to-love deficit once before in his career. It wasn't in the Arthur Ashe court against an in-form Andy Roddick. Henman perhaps accomplishing the first small step towards that recovery, but Roddick has recovered that swagger that he started the match with.
All the games are significant now for Henman, but that first game always good to get in front of you. If there is an advantage for Henman, it's that he was serving first and he'll be ahead in the score, so perhaps garner some encouragement from that. But certainly the fact that Roddick has got the first two sets will be disappointing.
And they're just stretching out that troublesome shoulder. Hopefully that's not going to hinder him too much.
And Roddick just asking the ball boy to clean up some of the perspiration that has collected around the baseline.
Who's had multiple titles over the American hardcourt season and then gone on to win at the US Open has been Pat Rafter recently. Rafter accomplished a feat by winning Toronto, Cincinnati and Long Island before defending his US Open crown back in 1998. That's some feat by the Aussie.
Not much you can do about that. 126-mile-an-hour rocket down the tee.
Well, that took a while for Roddick to level up things in the third set.
It's just amazing how he's able to produce that much pace. He doesn't use too much legs. It seems to happen with his upper body, racket head speed. He just goes right up to it and just hammers it. It happens very quickly.
Sometimes on his backhand as well, Leaf, it's almost just like a flick of the wrist. There's no sort of take back at all. I mean, he creates enormous.
Now that particular racket that he uses, you can really get it through the air quickly, and I think that's where he generates some of the pace. And perhaps one reason why on Roddick's serve he doesn't bend it out wide as well, because the racket moves too quickly through the air. Boy, big point here for the Brit.
Interesting you should say that, because Jeff Morrison, who reached the quarterfinals in Long Island last week, has said exactly that. He's had problems with his own company about the mold that he had, and his frame kept breaking. He went to the Roddick racket, and instantly he said he felt like a different player. He's drilled it, nailed it from Roddick. Fast improvement off that wing.
Yeah, the down the line shot was never one of his best shots until now. I mean, this summer he's gotten a grasp of it. And Roddick, 3 chances now to grab the advantage here in this third set.
Millimeters separated Henman from another breaker serve.
I'm telling you, this guy has a future as a surgeon. Watch him carve that volley. Oh, that's sweet.
Henman's father-in-law, indeed, a top surgeon in the UK and around the world. Well, we're a long way away, and we may be slightly biased, but that looked good.
On the line. It's moving quickly across the line. Tough call to make, but wow.
Can't control the power, and there were a couple of Englishmen in New York, but it looks as though their stay here is going to be fleeting. Roddick with a crucial break.
Are you financially fit? Or do you find it hard work paying your credit cards, store cards, loans and other monthly payments? Is it an uphill struggle and feels like you're on a treadmill all the time? What you need is a financial fitness check, as you may have too many payments and be paying out far more than you need to. Well, Norton Finance could carry out that check and replace any or all of your existing credit with a single loan, and you would pay only one easy, affordable payment each month. For example, £20,000 could cost you less than £172 per month, and you could also have cash to spend exactly as you wish. With only one payment per month, you will find it much easier to manage. So, if you're a homeowner and want to look at your financial fitness, make that call to Norton Finance now on 0800 043 1020. That's 0800 043 1020. Lines are open 24 hours a day. And see if Norton Finance can improve your financial fitness.
Henman indicating that was out. And obviously the comparisons are made with Roddick and Sampras, but Sampras very focused early on in his career in terms of just tennis, and there seems to be more hooks on Roddick that people can get a part of him.
Yeah, it really does. This has been the pattern really throughout the match. Roddick just pushing Henman around. And Brit number one just unable to make an impression. Roddick stronger, a little faster. And Roddick does play quickly when he gets to this lead, and all of a sudden he begins piling up points very fast. And your chance of winning seems further and further away. I wouldn't want to be a center linesman with Roddick serving. That ball gets pretty quickly to the back fence.
That's a shame, really, because I think you'd be excellent at it.
No, you just want me to be injured by those first serves coming down the tee. Roddick continues to hurt Henman with his serve.
But he's really pushing him around now. That is kind of a tame game. And a real potential hurdle for Roddick. Looks as though it's going to be overcome.
When Henman has the chance, he can finish, but Roddick has not allowed him to find those openings to attack into. Roddick has really shrunk the court enough on his side to make it difficult for Henman.
Seemed he was always destined for greatness, though, Andy Roddick. Even when he was young, his brother got him to sign a tennis ball for each of the family members, so that one day they would be fairly valuable. They could be increasing in value over the next couple of weeks. Junior #1 back in 1999. It has been an incredibly rapid rise up the rankings for the 20-year-old.
Well, wouldn't it be remarkable if Roddick, who won the junior title here in 2000, could also win the men's singles title? The only man to do that before was Stefan Edberg, win the junior title and then win the men's singles championship.
Henman staying in touch, but he has got an awful lot of work to do in this first round against the number 4 seed. He's 2 sets to love down and a breakdown. I've been very impressed with how Roddick has handled this occasion. Yes, he's had his moments where he's looked a little fragile. That's only normal when you have the weights of a nation, let alone a nation the size of Britain, one at the size of America on your shoulders.
Yeah, I've been surprised how well he's handled it also. I mean, this has been an excellent performance when you consider just how big the moment was and considering the level of the challenge. I mean, Henman is one of the finest players in the world who had been rounding into form this summer. So he has had to deal with a legitimate contender in his very first outing.
Time running out for Tim Henman in his quest here at Flushing Meadows. Andy Roddick, for almost 2 hours, has got the better of the British number 1.
Somehow he has to find a way to get those first serves back into play. Roddick has to be averaging in the 120-mile-an-hours on the first serve. But look at the variety. Then he throws in that twister. Just kicking like a mule off that court.
There's more purpose about Roddick, and he certainly has more weight in his shots than Henman currently. When you're on a 12-match winning streak, you just don't feel like you're ever going to get beaten.
Convincing hold, wasn't it? No doubt about those serves, and no doubt about his purpose as well.
Perceptibly change in the way that Roddick has approached this match to the others that we've seen in the Masters series over the last couple of weeks. He's managed to hold his composure, his demeanour, which will hold him in good stead the deeper he goes into this tournament if he is to win.
And that's one of the few returns Roddick has missed. We expected Henman to score more points off that type of kicking serve, but it just did not materialize.
That's a magnificent run by Andy Roddick. Brings a couple of people to their feet. And does he have it all or what?
Nothing need to be said about that. Tremendous sprint. Finds that outside edge. Henman giving him the thumbs up.
finds a way. Gas prices may be at their record high here in America, but it looks as though Roddick's wealthy enough to refill the tank after a grueling summer. Henman's in there fighting, always gives 100%, but just get the feeling that this match sort of drifting towards its conclusion. 2 hours exactly gone. Nobody does it better than Henman. Beautiful serve and volley point. Closed the net down well. And closes in on Roddick. If he shows any weakness, Henman will still be there to pounce.